Welcome to the Breeders Brew, dog breeding podcast hosted by me, Isabel, the canine nutrition coach.
And me, Sarah, the canine family planner.
Together, we'll be promoting responsible breeding by unpicking the minefield of breeding myths and methods for owners wishing to expand their whelping wisdom.
And welcome to our extra special bonus episode.
Yay!
We're back again. Yay!
We thought we'd treat you to a whole extra episode, didn't we, Sarah? We're feeling generous.
Yeah, a nice surprise episode because we have stuff we want to share that we realise we haven't shared, and we kind of wanted to check in because the ABAs, so the Annual Breeder Awards episodes, have been slowly filtering out, and we just wanted to check in with you guys to see, well, get some feedback really. You need to give us some reviews and let us know how you're finding them, but to update you on what's been happening behind the scenes as well, backstage.
Yeah, absolutely. This series has been something completely new for us. The ABAs are a really exciting new way of appreciating some of our fabulous grassroots breeders, and I've really enjoyed listening to them again myself, and I think there's so much that we can learn from hearing from other people's stories.
Yeah, so we're just over a third of the way through, and I'm sure you probably realised by now the breeders that are featured are all different types of people. You know, there is no mould for what a dog breeder is. It's very much, I mean, I love the fact that we started with Adam as the Rising Star Award because he's so down to earth, he's so honest with his opinion, that he was a great person to win the award. And the fact that all the winners were invited to attend, it just proved that they were the right people to win because they all agreed. And some people are totally new to podcasting, never been interviewed about dog breeding ever before, yet they all had the attitude of, yeah, sure, like let's get together, chat dog, who doesn't want to? And we put their nerves to bed quite easily and quite quickly. The people themselves have had great feedback. Obviously, they've been sharing their interviews on their own platforms. I think it's more than evident to show the breeders have come in all shapes and sizes. It's nice to see that diversity shared on a platform for other people that are just doing their thing with their dogs and breeding their dogs, to hopefully you can liken yourselves to one of the winners, because who knows, you could be a winner next year. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just so refreshing. Like you said, it's just so refreshing to see. Anyone can breed dogs successfully. Everyone can do justice to their breed, champion their pedigrees, and just do the best for their girls, really. And I think it's just so lovely to see that across the spread of breeds, people, location, diversity. And that's what we're all here for, is just to support each other, raise each other up, and raise the bar of breeding.
Isabel and I will be doing like a post ABA Awards episode at the very, very end. But I think what's more than evident so far already is that all the interviewees have talked about how important mentorship has been to them, or having somebody to guide them, coach them, support them in the beginnings of their breeding journeys. Adam's really nice because he bigged me up massively, bless him. But every single one that's been on so far have said how important it is to have that support, and they've come in all different forms, whether they be paid services and support, whether someone's purchased a female, it'd be their breeder's support, whether it's the stud dog. And this kind of brings us to what we wanted to mention, which was we haven't officially launched the Brew Crew to you guys, so that's what we're doing now in this episode, but the same diversity is shown with inside the Brew Crew. So it's just a common theme that is in dog breeding, and some people are really lucky to have found their people, but some people haven't and they're still searching. And that's one of the reasons why we put the Brew Crew together, which is our mentorship program community that we have that sits alongside the Breeders Brew podcast. And what Isabel and I had realised is we'd kind of launched it, but a little bit secretly. So we thought, actually, we need to tell you regular listeners that there's something available to you and we think you should come and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. We've built this entire mentorship with like-minded people in mind, you guys, because we know how important it is to have a community, have the support network. As you said, Sarah, all of the ABA winners have highlighted how fundamental the right people in their team has been to their breeding success. And if you're lucky enough to have that, then great, you've hit a gold mine. But it is such a challenge to find your group, your gang, because yeah, we've all got dog friends, but actually finding dog friends that have moral compasses that truly align with your own, that have a passion and an interest in the exact same field of dogs or training or breeding as you is few and far between. And I just feel so lucky to actually be a part of Brew Crew and be enjoying that community and having our little gang and their catch-ups. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I think one of the unique parts of Brew Crew is many dog communities will be either based around an activity or a sport, or based around the breed, or based around the skill set. There's no other community that's actually based around the owner's attitude of how they want to initiate breeding within their plan that they have. So I think to us, it doesn't matter how many dogs you got, it doesn't matter what breed they are. We're really keen to attract dog owners where they're proactive and they're ethical and they're responsible. That's the top tier level of dog ownership and dog breeding. And it's kind of, it literally is for everyone, because it's about someone's attitude, not necessarily about the dog or the breed or the scale that you're going to breed at. Because I think when it comes to dog breeding, some people will be like, oh, well, I'm not a licensed breeder, so I don't need to do this. Or, no, I only hobby breed, so I only need to do this. Or, no, I only breed once a year, so I only need to do this. It doesn't matter what scale you are functioning at, or what you're breeding for, whether it be the show ring, for dog sports, purely for companion pets. That doesn't matter. It's all about your attitude, which I think is why Breeders Brew has been so popular, because it has come from a totally different perspective to the majority of other dog breeding resources out there that will always funnel you into one of those aspects to be able to then support you. But we're here to say, no, this is actually about your attitude to dog breeding. And if you have the right attitude, then you need to be in the Brew Crew. You need to join us more.
Absolutely.
Because there's way more inside.
Yeah, and finding people with the same attitude is just the most uplifting thing in the world, because when you're all on the same mission together of doing your girl justice, doing the best for the breed, enjoying the process, learning as much as you can so that you can avoid all the common pitfalls, and really engaging and having fun with it. That's what breeding should be about. It should be an absolute passion project. And I think when you surround yourself with everybody else that is on this same passion project path as you, it's so uplifting. And that's what we're here for. That's what the Brew Crew is here for, is we are a community of people that are doing our best. And myself and Sarah, we have designed the programme so that it is a really enjoyable and interesting, gritty programme to get involved in. And we talk about things other people just frankly don't talk about.
Yeah, lots of things, constantly blowing people's minds. So what do they actually get inside the Brew Crew, Isabel?
Very good question. We probably should have started with that, shouldn't we, Sarah, so people could understand what it is. So first and foremost, it goes without saying that we have fortnightly bitch and brew catch-up calls. It says what it does on the tin, and it is a really exciting opportunity for everybody to come together, grab a drink, sit down and have a really interesting deep dive chat on exactly what is going on, what we're teaching, and an opportunity to pick our brains and learn from each other. So that's every fortnight. We then also have a monthly spotlight session, which is a mini masterclass that dives deeply into one specific topic. So that really helps you to make confident, well-informed choices at every step of your journey. So we will really shine a torch into those tiny little corners of dog breeding that you may not have even considered before. A great example of one we did recently was looking at a relationship roadmap. So who actually is in your dream team and your breeding dream team? Do you have the right people in your corner to actually succeed? And trust me, it's not quite as simple as having a great vet down the road, if only.
Yeah, and we've got some great feedback from our most current spotlight session where somebody had completed, it's not about we set activities afterwards if we feel they're going to be beneficial for you to sit down and reflect on what you've just learned and then apply it to your situation, because it's so easy to absorb all this information but not actually consider how it's going to impact you and your dogs. So it's not a compulsory, but for instance with this one there was a little, I don't really want to call it homework, but there was an activity, post-session activity, and we've actually got a snippet here from somebody that sat down, did the activity, and this is what they basically have to say about it.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed doing this, because it was a real way of just breaking down everything, because sometimes it can all just be in your mind. And then when you actually had to put it down and think about the different areas, it was really useful.
As you just heard, Shelley had some great feedback on her activity after the spotlight session, which she can now put into full force for her own breeding journeys. And yeah, it just goes to show it's information that she can apply directly to her and her situation.
Yeah, and I'd love to say that's all that's inside the Brew Crew, but no, there's more. So we also have full-length, members-only breeder briefs. And essentially these breeder briefs are a seriously deep dive, nitty-gritty, granular look at some of the most important topics of dog breeding. So imagine Breeders Brew Series 1 podcasts, and we know you all loved them. Imagine one of them, but in a bit more detail and a bit more depth and a little bit longer. And it just gives us an opportunity to really discuss some poignant areas of the breeding journey that we just frankly don't have time to on an average podcast episode. So if you loved Series 1 and you love learning, then those breeder briefs are going to be right up your street.
Yeah, and we're going to play a snippet for you at the end of this episode, just to
good idea.
Whet your appetite. We should whet your appetite onto the conversations that you're possibly missing out on, and for you to be able to see how they do contrast against Series 1, because they are on that extra level of information. We'll give you a little sample to listen to just so you actually know what we mean. So we're going to play that at the end of this episode, so stay tuned.
Yeah, great idea, Sarah. I think it'll be really valuable for you guys. There's so much content in there. There'll be plenty for you to take away, even from a short snippet. And again, not only that, our amazing members also get access to our tap room, don't they, Sarah?
We certainly do.
And that includes even more resources such as templates, lists, and planning tools that are right at your fingertips to make the journey even easier, help you stay focused, and even more organised for what's coming next.
A ton of digital downloads. I've chucked in a free copy of Doggy Style. If you want even more reading, then you're going to bag yourself an absolute bargain there as well. You saved yourself a ton of money before you even got started.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even think of it from that perspective. Absolutely. And I think it's about time we hit play, don't you, Sarah?
Yes, but before we do that, Isabel, maybe we want to tell them the little incentive that we've got available for them if they fancy not listening to this snippet, and if they want to listen to the full episode straight away, that if they go to the website breedersbrew.com/Brew Crew, they can sign up, and we're giving them a super duper discount, aren't we, on their first month?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a thank you to you for enjoying our podcast, joining us every week and listening. It's people like you that we want inside the Brew Crew. We want to be able to mentor you and have you come and join this community. We're here, we're waiting for you. People just like you with the same mindset as you, doing the best that they can for their dogs. So what are you waiting for? Come on and join. We've got 50% off for your first month. And you can sign up now at breedersbrew.com/Brew Crew. We're waiting and we hope to see you at the next Spotlight session.
Yeah, we want to see the next Spotlight session's a good one because we are going to address the wellness triad. And you're thinking, what is the wellness triad? Well, if you sign up for your bargain half price first month, you will find out in June.
So what's really important is, obviously, this special offer is only for you guys as our listeners, because we know that you'll fit right into this amazing friendship group that we've got going on. So we have a special discount code just for you. And the code is PODFAN50. So that's PODFAN 50. So hit join. Don't forget to use your coupon code, sign up, and we look forward to seeing you in there.
And just to add, that actually expires at the end of this ABA series. So we're going to give you the flexibility to listen to the whole series and for you to hear the theme that everybody says that mentoring is the way forward. But once the last episode goes out, then that offer is off the table. So we don't want you to dilly-dally around for too long. If you want to be on the next spotlight session in June about the wellness triad, then you need to not mess around and sign up straight away. And obviously you get to chat to me and Isabel on the inside as well on the next catch-up call.
Yeah, we want to meet you. Come on.
What more could they want apart from us to hit play on this snippet?
Yes.
That we've bigged up so much. So we're going to hit play now. This is a small sample of the stud options breeder brief, and particularly us discussing coefficients of inbreeding and what I personally deem as inbreeding outcrossing, so to speak, and how that ties into responsible breeding. Is a zero COI the most important thing about COIs? Well, you need to listen to find out. So let's sort of move on a step further and let's quickly talk about inbreeding, line breeding and outcrossing, because once you know the difference between those, it will dictate what you do going forward or how you might change your pattern. So inbreeding coefficient, COI, that's just telling you the amount of what Isabel said, like the interbreeding in the heritage of your dog. It doesn't mean that you're going to carry that on going forward. So if generally you're heading towards a breed average coefficient or lower, you would be outcrossing. You would be looking for a dog that has no similar DNA. You're going to use that dog, and by outcrossing, because they're not related, so you're going out from the pedigree that you've got, by using that dog, you're naturally going to bring down your coefficient. That's all good. Like we said, you can bring down your coefficient. The problem is you're probably going to lose breed type because of it, because you're not doubling up on anything that's consistent within their pedigree between them. And they might look a similar type, but it's whether it's actually locked into their DNA that sits behind them. So that's fine, but that's outcrossing. So outcrossing, you're going to lower your COI, which is fine. You're going to improve your genetic variability, which should mean you reduce any potential health issues. Should be in the word, without a doubt, should. Then you have line breeding. So this is where someone looks at the pedigree and they decide to pick up some elements that sit within the pedigree. There might be a particular kennel name in there that they think, actually, I'm going to line breed to that kennel, which kind of makes sense, because if you like the dog that you've got in front of you and their kennel name features significantly in the past, that's a way of you thinking, I could breed consistently to the type that they already produce because I like the dog that I've got. So that kind of makes sense. And that's where these uncle-niece breedings might come into play. I mention uncle-niece a lot because that's believed to be quite a nice breeding. It's almost like a trade-off between coefficients and breed type, that you can lock into something nice without taking too much of a risk. But every breeding is a risk, it's biology. What you also need to be careful of when line breeding, kennel types change. It's very hard to breed the consistent type of dog for decades. Like, the world changes around you, so the type of dog's going to change. So just because they did produce this type, just by going using them now doesn't mean that that's the type they still are producing. So that's not a hard and fast rule of, just because I'm looking back into this, I'm going to get this going forward. And then you've got inbreeding. And so this is where you're going to increase your coefficient. With line breeding, it can probably sit at your breed average coefficient. It might go up a little bit, but probably not too much. So for instance, I said Bulldogs are 6.3. If you crept into the 8s, 10s with line breeding, that would be more than expected, possibly up to 12. So you're going to increase it, but it's not going to be anything substantial. When you're inbreeding, you're going to skyrocket your coefficient numbers. You're going to go into the high teens, into the early 20s. And as I say, the breeding I was looking at went way into the mid 25s. Now, I do not recommend that anybody entertains inbreeding unless they are inbreeding to their own line, because if you decide to inbreed to another kennel's line, you realistically have no idea how solid, healthy, safe that line is. What they might present to you is all hunky-dory, but how do you know what the other litter mates were in that litter? You will never know. So if you ever do decide to inbreed, my recommendation is you only ever inbreed to your line, because you know the honest truth about what you've produced and what the repercussions might be, which basically means if you decide to breed, you're not even going to start inbreeding until you're 8-10 years down the line. It's impossible to inbreed safely.
That is exactly
that
what I was going to say to you, Sarah. It's really nice to put a threshold on that, because when Sarah says inbreed to your own line, that means you are several generations in. That means you've got a lineage of family beyond the dog that you've got on your sofa now. You've had mum, you've had dad, you've had grandma, you've had auntie, you've had uncle. You know exactly what sits behind that pedigree, because reading names on a pedigree is very different to knowing what that dog was. And as we said, every dog has a fault. Every dog has something wrong with it. No dog is perfect. No human is perfect. So only you truly know what faults sit behind your line when you're that far enough in. So inbreeding should not be undertaken by anyone that is hobby breeding if you are new to the game, because you truly don't know. You don't know the skeletons in your dog's closet.
What can tend to happen when you line breed, say you had a litter of 6, you would have 2 extremely good puppies that doubled up on all the good stuff, everything doubled up good. You would have 2 average puppies where they got half of the good stuff, half of the not good stuff. And then you potentially could have 2 car crash puppies that doubled up on all the bad stuff. Like, so if you always had that picture in your head.
And that's why genetics is so important, because that's the way genetics work. It's the same as going to the casino and playing a game of roulette. And essentially every time you play genetics, you're rolling a dice. Yes, you increase probability. So as Sarah said there, you increase the probability of locking things in, but essentially it is still a game of probability. You're still throwing that dice. That dice might have more good traits on it, but there'll still be a bad trait on that dice. So when you throw it, there can be bad luck involved in that. So that's where COI does come into play. It's a game of probability, and you want to increase the number of good options, good outcomes when you're throwing that dice.
Yeah, and it's a line you have to carefully tread, because ultimately when people lock into type, it's because they're locking into something that's extreme, whether that be temperament, build, bone, like it's either super long or super short, and that's why people love it. Basically, it's at the extremities of. And the problem is that's why the Kennel Club, they started to amend the breed standards back in 2010, and they keep tweaking them since. It's different in America. AKC don't actually own the breed standards, the breed clubs do. So they can only be amended if the breed clubs are happy to do so. The breed clubs are generally owned by the breed enthusiasts that don't want to change the breed standards, where in the UK, the Kennel Club will go no because of health reasons. And so they literally went through all the breed standards. The Bulldog used to say massive head. Now it doesn't say massive head. It might say grand head or, big head. But they've tried to remove all the extremities to stop people breeding with that in focus, because what you ultimately end up with when something goes so extreme, it's unbalanced. So then confirmation, how that dog is put together, will fail. And then they have health issues. So you can't breed extreme and be balanced. It's just not possible. So the whole point of a dog is to be fit for function, fit for purpose. They need to be balanced. They need to have sound conformation. And so hence why coefficients got dragged into the conversation about dog breeding and the education around it. But as we see, people sort of showboat and are proud of a low coefficient, but it doesn't mean that the dog's better.
I'm seeing it a lot in my breed at the moment, particularly more so in the stud market than puppy market, and I know market's a horrible word to use around dogs, but how else can we describe that sector? That there are what are seeming quite popular stud dogs in my breed that are using their 0.0% COI as their leading USP is a horrible way of describing it, but USP. And unfortunately, it's, as we said, it's a piece of the puzzle. COI is one thing to be looking at when evaluating an option, a stud dog. It's not necessarily the most amazing thing. Unfortunately, I've seen 0.0% dogs with horrific Queen Anne fronts, not fit for function, poor conformation, videos of them on the move where they look truly unbalanced. That dog is not then healthy. So by choosing that dog based on a 0.0% COI, you're choosing a COI over what you can see in front of you. So use it as a piece of the puzzle. Again, your stud dog owner should be willing to have the conversation on COI. If you've got a concern that maybe you'd be slightly on breed average or slightly above breed average with a mating, for example, maybe you don't have a registered breed at all and it's still something you want to chat about with the stud owner, they should be willing to have that conversation and offer some insight, because as Sarah said before, a lot of stud owners will know what is and what isn't a sensible mating. So do take advice from a stud owner, because they should be willing to participate in a healthy discussion with you on that one.
You think years ago, so the coefficients for breeds are generally declining anyway, because years ago there were less stud dogs, so everyone would use the same popular stud dogs just because of the way the world was different then. There would be popular stud dogs per region, everyone would go and use that stud dog because they were owned by an experienced stud dog owner that could get the mating done, so coefficients were higher. Once artificial insemination was brought to the table, coefficients started decreasing, because that meant that any dog could be a stud dog, whether the stud dog was capable or not, and whether the stud owner was knowledgeable or not. They could go to a clinic, they could get an AI, they can breed the dog, job done. So coefficients are on the decrease anyway, so there's nothing special particularly about that. And knowing that your breed type is going to decrease with the coefficient, then to me, I would recommend that people line breed, at least try and find some past heritage that you like, that's possible. You know, they're still breeding and they're still active in their part of the world, and that convenience wise you can actually make a breeding happen. But again, I generally say to people, you line breed for two generations, then you outcross. So you do need dogs with different coefficients. You outcross and then you line breed for 2 generations, then you outcross. If you, in my opinion, if you was followed that pattern, you're going to breed a nice, consistent type, but you're also going to manage your coefficient as well.
Yes, and stud dog owners generally will be very happy to have those sort of conversations with you. And if their dog isn't suitable, a good stud dog owner will tell you that, or they will be able to say to you, no, my boy is not the right boy for you, go and try X, Y, or Z. So the key takeaway here is COI is one tiny part of the puzzle that I'm finding a lot of new breeders currently are getting unfairly hung up on. Worry about your dog's health testing, worry about the stud dog's health testing, ask the stud owner how many generations that they have personal experience with behind their male, so they know truly what sits behind him. How many generations do you know behind your female? Truly get to the bottom of potentially what health, what faults, what's going on in your dogs, and then worry about COI, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. Which brings us on to the other parts of the playbook. It does state breed coefficient, the individual dog's coefficient, and if you were to breed the 2 dogs together, what the litter coefficient would be. But again, information, stuff for you to ponder on and decide what to do going forward. Then there is a section about health certificates. So what certificates does the dog have? Eyes, ears, heart, hips, elbows, DNA. Make note of all of this here and what the possible outcome will be if you were to breed those dogs together. So, for instance, you can have an affected female. As long as you use a clear dog, you're never going to produce any affected puppies. Now, this is another conversation because some people are obsessed with clear lines, genetically clear lines. Again, like the coefficient, you could potentially bin the baby with the bath water. The female that I talked about in regards to, she was the best, technically on paper, she's the best female I've ever bred. I was one of the first breeders to do a clear carrier breeding for urate stones. That was a new test that became available for bulldogs, and I was all for it. And then I tested the stud dog and he was a bleeding carrier, wasn't he? So I was like, oh, damn. But I wanted to use him. He was a phenomenal dog. For that reason, actually impacted his stud work, because that meant half the people weren't interested in him because he was a carrier. The half that were interested in him, half of them couldn't use him because their bitch was a carrier. So he actually only ended up getting a quarter of the stud work that he deserved to get. But regardless, I still went and did the clear carrier breeding. I was one of the first people in my breed to knowingly do that, because everyone was petrified of using a carrier. And that gave me that top bitch that actually was genetically clear anyway. So DNA testing is really important, but it's another part of the jigsaw puzzle. Don't ever knowingly breed an affected dog, but I have no problem with breeding carrier puppies, because as long as they are health tested themselves, and if that dog was ever to be bred, they're suitably matched to the right stud, it literally will make no difference to that dog or the puppies that they produce.
Knowledge is power, and that I think is a key ethos that we are always echoing here. Knowledge is power. So do your health testing, make sure your stud's health tested, and use that as another piece of the jigsaw puzzle. So again, it doesn't mean just because they're clear on everything. Yeah, agreed.
Some breeders get obsessed with clear lines, and I tell you now, you will decrease the breed type by just being obsessed with clear lines. There will be quality carrier dogs. As long as the combination works together, they'd be worth using.
There's always a compromise. It's a matter of working out what your compromise is.
Yeah, I always say when you're a breeder, you're just juggling and you just want to not drop a ball. So you need to find the compromises of, like not dropping the ball. So if you've enjoyed that snippet, then what more can I say? I'm going to remind you of the amazing promotional offer that we're giving you guys, which is go to breedersbrew.com/Brew Crew. You can sign up 50% off your first month using the discount code PODFAN50 on the checkout. There's a box there at the bottom. It's really easy. You can't miss it. And sign up straight away. And if you don't still believe us that you should be in the Brew Crew, then you need to listen to Marty, one of our American Brew Crew members, sharing her thoughts and feelings. She's very expressive on what she thinks of the Brew Crew.
I told Sarah I'm like a total fangirl over here. I swear I binged every single one of your podcasts over a weekend, and I started speaking with a British accent as a result. I'm a Havanese breeder in Los Angeles area. I bought my first breeding dog in 2020, but couldn't use her because I was so naive, And I finally got my Zara right on my lap here, my foundational girl, and she's just been spectacular. I realized that this is my passion in life. I have found my thing. It took me a minute, but this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I also realized that I'm completely obsessed with it. That's how I found you ladies, is I just devour every podcast I can find, every resource online. Mentors are few and far between in this area. I am obsessed with it. I love it. I'm a sponge. I want to learn everything that I possibly can. Can't thank you ladies enough. This was, to say it was so valuable is just an understatement. I have no words. Thank you.
If you've resonated with this episode, you're already showing the mindset that matters the most. But great breeding isn't just about attitude, it's about understanding your breed, your specific circumstances, and where you are in the journey.
That's where a Brew Crew mentorship comes in. No one-size-fits-all advice, just personal, practical support shaped around you. Whether you're planning your first litter or refining your approach, we'll walk you through every step of the way.
So come on and join us at breedersbrew.com for tailored learning and a community that's raising the bar, one thoughtful, well-prepared litter at a time. Can't wait to see you there.